Namaste, angels. Is going to be a weekly general reading for the period of today, Sunday, March 18th, through next Saturday coming, March 24th. I'm going to begin by, again, throwing my reputation on the line, not unlike when I told you the Eagles would win and you should have bet, or when I told you about the parties of three, predominantly involving Virgos and or Leos, and a lot of you found out to be true, or when I told you that you'd be under severe attack and you would know this, some of you, by the stuff around you that would begin to break your stones, your talismans, your jewelry, things that were sentimental to you that you'd had, all of a sudden it's cracked in half and you have no idea why. So I keep getting these messages and trying to disseminate them because I want to help you guys and I want you to be able to help yourself, but I don't want to, at the same time, I don't want to come off like I'm trying to sell you something. So I keep trying to give you proof of what I'm saying is true, and it has worked with some of you. I was actually having a conversation with one of my Divine Light Cleanse clients. He's a divine feminine in a male homosexual relationship, and he's purchased it for his divine masculine. They're both going to do it again because they are under this attack and they have experienced these things. And he says that it's like the best thing he's ever done for himself was to purchase it. And so we got into this whole conversation of like, if the light, if those of us who are really committed to ourselves and to the collective at large of the light would respond, like en masse, and just a bunch of us, you stop with this thing like where we don't nurture ourselves, like we don't give ourselves any help, and we'd rather sulk. And I'm not saying that lightly because it's sulking, but it's not even like it's unnecessarily voluntary. Some of the pain that we experience because there is help, whether you get it from me or somewhere else, there is help for some of these things. We don't have to just it's physical heartbreak sometimes, physical pain in your chest and stuff that you feel because of some of this, or when you can't remember things that you should remember that are like pivotal moments in your life and on the journey or both, and you can feel things being blocked, or your dreams are not coming through, or you're not able to remember them at all. Some of us not having any, so failing to receive messages that way, and like losing the connection between yourself and your mate. You feel like you can't connect to them. All of these are blocks, and a lot of them are not only brought on by dark energy, but intentionally by somebody else using some sort of mechanism to do that. You know what? There's even shows about it now. Like my daughters watch this show, The Magicians, I think it's called. I think that was the one. Anyway, I was watching something with them. I think it was The Magicians, and I saw like these sorts of scenarios coming up on TV. It comes up on TV. It comes up in movies. All of these things. The Matrix was written by this black woman like years before it was actually made into a movie, but it was because I'm sure she was experiencing these thoughts, because they can happen. And so anyway, I don't want to go too deep into that and spend too much time on it, but I just wish that more of us would get healing again, whether you get it from me or not. I just wish you would do it, and I think it's really important to do it now, and I think it's connected to, as a matter of fact, I put a lot of thought into this, and without going into the whole thing in detail, I think it's very much connected to Leo, very much connected to Virgo. It was connected to those two major moons that both fell during the period of Lent. I think it's very much connected to Lent, all of this attack that we are under. And I think prior to Jesus and Lent, with his predecessor, I think it's very much connected to Horus and Ra. And again, I could make more statements, but I'm just going to say that that's enough for you to know. These are my now copyrighted theories, and like I said, I've put a lot of thought into them, and I think that things are going to get better for us, particularly those of us who look into some real healing now. But I think that things are going to get better for us because I believe it's all connected historically, again, to Jesus and Lent, but before him to the fight between Horus and Ra. And the fight between Horus and Set, which resulted, wasn't really a fight with Ra at that time, but it resulted in Horus becoming the sun god, and Ra no longer. Anyway, I think that all of this is going to, the sun rose in that case, and the sun's going to rise again in the case of Lent, and the resurrection or Easter, or whatever you want to call it, as well, April 1st. And I think around then is when we'll start to feel some ease from these attacks and things, when, quote unquote, Jesus and the other saints have risen. That's April 1st is Easter. Passover is March 31st. I think that that time is when it's going to get better, but especially for those of us who have put some real effort into protection and the clearing of negativity. And some of us need some like actual demonology. Some of us got some real demons, like, attacking us. Real live, dark, or manipulative. I'll use the term manipulative because I don't believe in white, quote unquote, white or black magic. I don't believe in anything that manipulates other people, and I don't know how we determine that some is good and decide to call it white. If you're manipulating somebody else without their expressed will, I want this done on my behalf, it's wrong, in my opinion. So all these things like love spells and all that, I think it's absolutely wrong to even conceive, to try to, something that you might think is simple like that, to try to force somebody to fall in love with you or something like that. I think it's horrible. But it goes much deeper and darker than stuff like that, to really, really hurting people. So in any case, I think that's going to continue. Long story, finally short. I think that the heavy attack is going to continue. You need protection. You need resolve. Some of us need more stuff. And I'm somebody who can do it, but if I just would like you to do it. However you do it, from whoever you do it. If it's somebody that can really do it, I just want to see the collective heal themselves. And spend money. I'm going to start with spend money. I dropped the dice on the table. Last week, spend money came up too. And after I finished the reading, so I didn't say it as part of the reading, I felt that spend money was, in part at least, for stuff like this. Like, spend money toward yourself. If you're like debating it, should I do this? But we spend money so easily on like needless stuff, and I don't know. In any case, if anybody wants to see what I'm talking about, some of the healing that I do, of course, you can check out my website, Queenofswords, thelightworker.com. Also on Facebook, facebook.com/divinelightcleanse. For that healing modality in particular, I have a Facebook page dedicated to it, where people who have had it, rather than myself, sort of review and provide, their testimony and feelings and thoughts about, the results that they've experienced. Now, it's weird because for whatever reason, and no judgment from me, but for whatever reason, people tend not to want others to know, I guess, that they've had it. So a lot of it is anonymous. They'll either use a different name when they post, or they'll send it to me and ask me to post it, but it's there from other people giving their personal testimonials to what they've experienced as a result of energy healing with me. All right. Sorry that took up so much time. Let's get into the other stuff, beginning with what's going on the planet today. Some of it, the astrology/astronomy. So yesterday, the 17th, was major, right? We had we had Saturn in a transit with Leo, actually, in the true node at 7:01 a.m. At 9:11 a.m., the new moon in Pisces. And 8:8 is connected to that. And 8's a representative of karma and justice and abundance, so many things. But the moon was like 26 degrees 53 Pisces as far as the location. Also yesterday, March 17th, at 12:40 p.m., Mars entered Capricorn. So that should be interesting, depending upon where in your house it falls. I think for me that is, so for Geminis maybe at large, the 8th house of, what's that called? Shared resources. That's what I'm trying to think of. I think that that's where it's going to be, or where it is for us. The 20th of March, the sun enters Aries at 12:15 p.m. March 22nd at 8:19 p.m., Mercury retrograde begins officially. And the next thing is March 25th, so that is for next week, so I'll move on. On the Christian calendar this week, very important, tomorrow, well, today is St. Cyril of Jerusalem, so some of you guys may wish to check him out. But tomorrow, very important, the feast day of St. Joseph, husband of the Blessed Mary, also called St. Joseph, patron of Canada. Tomorrow's feast day, March 19th. And later in the week, it's one that I wouldn't go over, but some of you may be interested. St. Turibus is celebrated on the 23rd. On the Hebrew calendar, we have nothing until next week. Next week, Friday the 30th, is the fast of the firstborn. And as I mentioned in my little rant, on the 31st is the first day of Passover. Also on the 20th this week, the equinox. So let me go to the www.wikipedia.org for a moment about the equinox to tell you what that is. An equinox is commonly regarded as the moment when a plane of Earth's equator passes through the center of the sun's disk, which occurs twice each year around March 20th and September 23rd. In other words, it is the point in which the center of the visible sun is directly over the equator. This simplified but incorrect understanding of Earth's orbital motion can lead to errors of up to 69 seconds from the actual time of the equinox. The instants of the equinoxes are currently defined to occur when the ecliptic longitude of the sun is either 0 degrees or 180 degrees, as the true motion of the Earth is affected by the gravitational pull of the sun and moon. There are tiny variations of the sun's ecliptic latitude that may mean the sun's center is not precisely over the equator at the moment of the equinox. On the day of an equinox, daytime and nighttime are of approximately equal duration all over the planet. They are not exactly equal, however, due to the angular size of the sun and the atmospheric refraction. The word is derived from a Latin term, and that's how we come up with it. But that it's officially the first day of spring, this March 20th. On the Jewish calendar, I said there was nothing. What did I want to tell you about today? There was something about today. Oh, there is an Aries moon today for us Geminis. That is in our 11th house of groups and friendships. And somebody may enter your life that, you know, or be in your life, but may become more pivotal today. Second time using that word. Toward like your goals, your dreams, your purpose. So in your friendships or your groups and friendships. Others of you will have to check out in what house it is for you if you're interested. Let me tell you a little bit about St. Joseph. So this is from www.catholic.org. Everything we know about the husband of Mary and the foster father of Jesus comes from the scripture that has seemed too little for those who made up legends about him. We know he was a carpenter, a working man for the skeptical Nazarenes about Jesus. And, quote, is this not the carpenter's son? This was in Matthew 13:55. He wasn't rich, for when he took Jesus to the temple to be circumcised and Mary to be purified, he offered the sacrifice of 2 turtle doves, or a pair of pigeons, basically, allowed only for those who could not afford to give a lamb. This is spoken about in Luke 2:24. Despite his humble work and means, Joseph came from a royal lineage. Luke and Matthew disagree about some of the details of Joseph's genealogy, but they both mark his descent from David, the greatest king of Israel. You can find that in Matthew 1:1 through 1:16, and also Luke 3:23 through 38. Indeed, the angel who first tells Joseph about Jesus greets him as, quote, son of David, a royal title used also for Jesus. We know Joseph was a compassionate, caring man. When he discovered Mary was pregnant after they had been betrothed, he knew the child was not his, but was yet unaware that she was carrying the quote-unquote Son of God. He knew women accused of adultery could be stoned to death, so he resolved to send Mary away quietly to not expose her shame to cruelty. However, when an angel came to Joseph in a dream and told him, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. Quote, he did as the angel told him and took Mary as his wife. Matthew 1:19 through 25. When the angel came to him to tell him that his family was in danger, he immediately left everything he owned, all of his family and friends, and fled to a strange country with his wife and his baby. He waited in Egypt without question until the angel told him it was safe to go back. Matthew 2:13 through 23. We know Joseph loved Jesus. His first concern and main concern was for the safety of this child entrusted to him. Not only did he leave his home to protect Jesus, but upon his return settled in an obscure town of Nazareth out of fear for his life. When Jesus stayed in the temple, we are told Joseph, along with Mary, searched with great anxiety for 3 days for him. You can find this in Luke 2:48. We also know that Joseph treated Jesus as his own son, for over and over the people of Nazareth say, Jesus, quote, is this not the son of Joseph, end quote. Luke 4:22. We know Joseph respected God. He followed God's commandments in handling the situation with Mary and going to Jerusalem to have Jesus circumcised and Mary purified after Jesus' birth. We are told that he took his family to Jerusalem every year for Passover, something that could not have been easy for a working man. Since Joseph does not appear in Jesus' public life at his death or resurrection, many historians believe Joseph probably had died before Jesus entered public ministry. According to Catholic Encyclopedia, the apocryphal date for Joseph's birth is in 90 BC in Bethlehem, and the apocryphal date of his death is July 20th AD in Nazareth. I'm sorry, July 20th, they have it transposed or backwards. The year 18 AD in Nazareth. Joseph is also patron saint of the universal church, families, fathers, expectant mothers, travelers, immigrants, house sellers and buyers, craftsmen, engineers, and working people in general. We celebrate 2 feast days for Joseph. March 19th for Joseph, the husband of Mary, and May 1st for Joseph, the worker. March 19th has been the most commonly celebrated feast day for Joseph, and it wasn't until 1955 that Pope Pius XII established the feast of St. Joseph the Worker to be celebrated on May 1st. This is also May Day, International Workers' Day, and is believed to reflect Joseph's status as the patron of workers. Many places and churches all over the world are named after St. Joseph, including the Spanish form San Jose, which is the most commonly named place in the world. Joseph is considered to be, by many, to also be the patron saint of the New World. the countries, China, Canada, Korea, Mexico, Austria, Belgium, Croatia, Peru, Vietnam, and the regions of Carinthia, also Styria, Tyrol, Sicily, and several main cities and dioceses. Now, why would you think that he's the patron of all these places that are not even Christian countries? Because there's one God or one source, and religion is not a part of him. That's what I'm going to throw out there. In art, Joseph is typically portrayed as an older man with gray hair and a beard, often balding, sometimes appearing frail and marginal as a figure next to Mary and Jesus, if not entirely in the background. Some statues of Joseph show his staff topped with flowers. St. Joseph is shown with the attributes of a carpenter's square or tools. The infant Jesus, his lily blossom staffed, two turtle doves, or a spikenard. There is much we still wish we could know about Joseph. Exactly where and when he was born, how he spent his days, exactly, and when he died. But the scripture has left us with the most important knowledge of who he was, which was, quote unquote, a righteous man, according to Matthew 1:18. In his footsteps, Joseph was foster father to Jesus. There are many children separated from families and parents who need foster parents. Please consider contacting your, a local charity or some sort of family services organization about becoming a foster parent, if that is something you're able to do. A prayer to St. Joseph is: St. Joseph, patron of the universal church, watch over the church as carefully as you watched over Jesus. Help to protect it and to guide it as you did with your adopted son. Amen. In consideration of the fact that I finished all that talking at exactly 22 minutes, 0 seconds, I'm not going to do the sky this week. Anybody wanting to check out what's going on in the sky this week, please visit astronomy.com, the sky this week. But I think I was meant to end on master number 22, also known as 1111 or 4 for our foundations and things of that nature. I'm going to begin with my animal tarot and the Princess of Summer, which is the energy of the Page of Cups, basically, after we do the dice. So as I told you, I'm starting with spend money. Also, yes, and romantic dinner. And this is just from dropping them on the table. Like that. And Spirit says 29. Again, spiritual partnership. Also, email and dirty movie. Princess of Summer, who's sensitive, kind, open-hearted, and inexperienced. You can expect to kindle a new relationship or a close platonic friendship. You may suddenly receive an emotional message from someone or be invited to a social event. The Princess of Summer, again, for me, is a Pisces. It can also be a Scorpio or Cancer or anybody likened to these traits or attributes, making an offer of love, or you could be the recipient of an offer of love. So this kind of energy surrounding you. Opening from there to the Ace of Autumn. It can be a beautiful new relationship, whether it's one of friendship, close friendship, again, maybe for a Gemini, but with today's Aries moon in our house of friendships and groups. Because I said that because I'm beginning also with the Queen of Air with my other deck, who may be a Gemini. Doesn't have to be, though. Could be anybody, but this could be a beautiful relationship, a new job, being of the suit of coins, some sort of new lucrative opportunity in the area of abundance, whether that is in the form of finances, material things, assets, or love. You can expect a windfall of abundance, such as money, timely assistance, a serendipitous meeting, or rewarding advice. You may be offered a fabulous new job or a promotion, or the prospect of a profitable business venture or investment. So it could totally be connected to 29 and perhaps with a water sign. And on that note, opening to the Two of Summer, you are falling in love or experiencing a deepening of emotion in your current relationship. Marriages or romantic partnerships in distress can also still be saved. Don't give up. Princess of Summer. And lastly, I was going to stop on the Two of Cups. I thought that on that note I'll quit. But I'm glad I opened also to this. The Prince of Summer, who's romantic, flirtatious, introspective, and enchanting. A deeply emotional and probably romantic experience will sweep you off your feet. Things can move very quickly during such a whirlwind encounter. So stay balanced and make decisions both with your heart and your intellect. Again, this week the sun will be leaving Pisces and entering Aries. Mars also in Aries. Mercury and Venus in Aries already, yes. And coming to the 8 of Autumn. It's the perfect time to learn all you can by returning to school, taking a seminar, or Mars is entering Capricorn, not Aries. Mercury and Venus are indeed in Aries, and the sun is entering Aries this week. It's the perfect time to learn all you can about returning to school, taking a seminar, or conducting research. Do your best work, and the law of attraction will bring you prosperity and career advancement. So that 8 of Earth, career advancement, that sounds like promotion to me. Could be obviously very connected to the Ace of Earth that we had already seen. As it relates to promotion, whether that means promotion as far as ascension, promotion in a more literal and tangible sense, or advancement of your relationships too, ascension of your relationships as well. And coming to awakening as our overall energy, which is the energy of Pisces, with which I started, because I started with the Page of Cups. And that's a Pisces to me. We're back to this energy of Neptune and Pisces. And awakening. Awakening is actually the Hanged Man in the traditional tarot. Look at things from a different way, and all will make sense. Don't worry about your progress being halted temporarily. Things will soon start to get moving again. So those of us who find ourselves like in limbo or experiencing some sort of like air of suspension and like we're in need of more information, use it as a chance to, just observe and consider your situation from other vantage points, like maybe in a way other than how you had been thinking about it. Masculine, very nice. The Wheel. Expect a sudden positive change in your life. You can move forward and make great progress. I didn't mention it yet. I'll mention it now. The Wheel represents the planet Jupiter for me. Jupiter, which is in retrograde in Scorpio. So that can be what is moving this along. Jupiter also connected, although this is card number 10, which is a number of karma. I'm actually a karmic number 10 in my chart, which means I shouldn't, my karma is neutral. Basically is what that means. But also, again, karma associated to the number 8 for me. And with this new moon that we just entered in Pisces, again, our overall energy being about Pisces. When I picked this up, guess what's underneath it? The Princess of Summer, upright also. Actually, it's upside down. The Princess of Summer is right underneath it, though, so both of them representing Pisces. But with that new moon, again, the numbers 8 came out because of the latitude and the location of it. 26 degrees, Pisces, 53. So both of those 8s. The Wheel, for me, because it's about Jupiter. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, so the Wheel can be about a Sagittarius in your life too, that is helping you in some way, helping to be like the push that leads to this promotion for you, that has something to do with the sudden positive event that moves you along. But it's also this card, the Wheel of Fortune in the tarot, connected to the fixed signs for me, and those would be Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Taurus. Surrounded by, the masculine is the hermit. Take time for contemplation, to retreat and to go within. Be a beacon for others on their path to spiritual enlightenment. Well, the hermit represents the sign of Virgo and is about enlightenment in general, like teaching and learning, and certainly going within, as they describe here, to teach and learn more, to teach and learn you more about you. And that could be the sudden event, like you learn something different. You look at things from a different perspective, maybe as it relates to love and emotion and family, maybe as it relates to a party of three involving a Virgo specifically, because behind this is the Prince of Summer now. So romantic situation involving these people. And when you think about it differently, it results in something very positive for you, abundance, right? Just changing your perspective changes it from, oh, woe is me, to something that is lucrative and abundant for you. Ace of Autumn, the wheel. And absolutely can be in an area of partnership. Behind this is the Ace of Summer, upside down, but, you know, very close to this Two of Summer. So there are some new beginnings on their way for people, very positive ones. That may involve water signs, and again, maybe perhaps specifically Pisces or Scorpio. Masculine subconscious. The Prince of Spring. An opportunity arises that needs your attention right away. Moving quickly is important, yet there's nothing you can't handle. Oh, excuse me. If you follow your inner guidance, the Prince of Spring can be a Sagittarius, which again, I said Jupiter rules Sagittarius. And this is about a sudden event. This is about a sudden event. Something all of a sudden changes to help you along. So this can be, again, a Sagittarius that helps you along, a Scorpio that helps you along all of a sudden. I mean, it can be another fire sign too. Aries, Leo. Leo also associated to the energy of the wheel for me. Or it could be a Virgo with this sitting underneath here. Crowning the feminine, card number 8. Very nice. Justice. Fair and decisions will be made after all the evidence is received impartially. Have compassion for others and try to see all sides of a disagreement. Justice can involve a Libra in your life, perhaps. But it's about things finally, like you're finally getting your just due. Feminine, surrounded by the Queen of Spring, talented, brilliant, independent, and charming is the Queen of Spring. She's also the quintessential divine feminine of the tarot, and is perhaps a Leo, which I've been talking about. Aries or Sagittarius again. Don't underestimate your ability to manifest your dreams. You may have several priorities vying for your attention at once, but you can do it. It's about being creative and passionate and going for you know, what's yours and what you have the right to, and maybe getting your just due. This can absolutely, right here, be representing Venus in Aries. Venus rules Libra. Venus rules Libra, and we have it sitting here atop the Queen Spring. The Queen of Spring, yes. This can absolutely be showing up as a representation of Venus in Aries and what that's going to mean for the divine feminine this week. But she has to let go of some crap first. And I talked about clearing out toxicity. I went on a rant before this reading about clearing out toxicity. Well, here it is sitting in the feminine subconscious. This can also be about, to give these cards additional meaning, not only Venus in Aries, but Mars in Capricorn. Ego, or the devil, major arcana card, ego, or the devil, represents the sign of Capricorn. You may feel that you're trapped in a situation, but that's not true. Be careful not to overly focus upon material wealth and to break free of negative thinking. So if we're worried about, quote unquote, spending money, especially if it's on ourselves to help ourselves, we shouldn't be. If we're worried about manifestation, period, we shouldn't be, because that is what's causing us to not manifest. That's a block. We got to be positive about these things that we are going to receive our just due. If this is about actual ego or pride or any other negative emotions that maybe you need cleared professionally by somebody that does energy healing, or by some means of energy healing that you can do for yourself, by smudging, by bathing, in lavender or sea salt or something, releasing negative emotion, cutting cords to negative people. You're not trapped. You're not bound. Cut the cord. Crowning. The 9 of spring. You've worked hard, and what you've created is impressive and worthy of protecting. Annoying challenges may pop up, but don't worry. You'll get through them just as you have in the past. Very nice. At the root, it's the Chariot. You can successfully balance various or opposing energies all at once through determination and focus. You've earned the rewards and recognition you're receiving. Well, this can also have dual meaning too, because the Chariot represents the sign of Cancer. Lilith is a Cancer. Lilith also in Capricorn. Black Moon Lilith in Capricorn still. So this can be affecting some of us as well. At the heart of the matter, the Emperor, which represents the planet Mars. Structure and organization are important right now. Don't be afraid to take on a leadership role, as you have much wisdom to offer. This number 4, which I mentioned earlier too, our foundations, when I said I'm stopping at this 22-minute mark that they've made for me, equals 4, equals an 11, because I felt that I should. Here we have it as the heart of our matter. Again, this is a representation of Mars in Capricorn, which may be, or Mars joining Black Moon Lilith in Capricorn. On this note, we still have stuff, Virgo, representative of the sun, again for me, the sun, the S-O-N, whether we're thinking about Horus or Jesus, about to become advanced and more abundant by something having to do with a fiery energy of movement, which can be Ra, Leo, the other sun, the S-U-N. Let's further clarify these with the Angel Tarot before I get too far ahead of myself. I'm beginning with the Queen of Air, who's independent, experienced, realistic, and witty, objective decision-making, clearing away all that no longer serves you, and seeing the humor in a situation. And opening to the King of Fire, who's motivational, idealistic, ambitious, and charismatic. Focus, 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 and communicate with vision. Be a leader. Take advice from someone creative. The King of Fire, like his counterpart, the Queen, is the divine masculine of the tarot. Also a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries can be here representing Mars, can be here representing Jupiter. Jupiter, ruler of Sagittarius, Mars, ruler of Aries and Scorpio. Opposite the Queen of Air. This can also be reflective of, again, Venus in Aries. And also may be significant as it relates to Geminis, Aquarians, or Libras, and or their counterparts or people who are impactful upon them, particularly this week. Again, they may be a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. And opening to life experience with Archangel Chamuel, which can often represent for me the sign of Scorpio, yet again, similar to death. A significant life event, a powerful revelation that leads to change. It's time to spread your wings. You may come up with this revelation, again, when you take a step back. You may realize, I've been doing this all wrong. I've been approaching this all wrong. I've been thinking about this all wrong. Let me change my perspective. And that may cause you to cut out something to make, or make other adjustments. Cut out something that doesn't serve you anymore, or add something that will. Make adjustments to your life, Queen of Air style. The Tower and the Ace of Fire. Yet again, I came to this as I was shuffling the other deck. An exciting new opportunity, career advancement. Change your life now. life experience. I'm going to cut. So though the Ace of Fire and the King of Fire opposite the Tower, which I said can represent Scorpio, can absolutely be, again, Jupiter in Scorpio, and how that's going to propel you forward. That can be the sudden event. Jupiter taking a checklist of you, reviewing your karma, your 8, and seeing what's due you, and determining you're due for some justice. You're due for things to go your way finally. As it relates to abundance. And here's more movement for you that maybe you can't see, but it's happening. Events moving at a fast pace. Delays are over and many things are happening at once. This can also be about communication. And for me, sort of always looks like, especially if I'm using regular tarot cards, like my Rider-Waite cards, like Cupid's arrows being hurled at someone. And Cupid, again, for me, is a Sagittarius. Cupid, Archangel Chamuel, whatever you want to call it, Venus's son, is a Sagittarius. So that's the movement, again, of Jupiter, the way I see it. But again, also with that, I'm mentioning the sun, right? Now, Venus's son. Venus, who represents mother, right? Mother goddess, the feminine planet of love, her son. It's the same thing that I was talking about with Horus before, as far as the sun, or Jesus as far as the sun, and why this period is so very important for light beings, and why it is so very important for us to arm ourselves and to be ready to, to approach it. We want to talk about a shift, a great shift coming. It's not because, somebody had some sync of 11:11. That's not the shift. I hope I'm demonstrating and showing you what really will be. Anyway, our overall energy is going to be the 4 of Earth here, being too frivolous or too cautious with money. And that can be any kind of abundance. It doesn't have to be money. It could be like you're withholding love too, or giving away too much of yourself for no reason. But as it relates to money, I would say, again, I would connect it at least in part to the fact that we're too cautious with it as it relates to ourselves typically. Most of us tend to be, fairly generous with other people. Especially like our children, maybe other relatives. But when it comes to doing something for ourselves, we're hesitant. Except when it's like something frivolous, to use that word. Like we could go and spend the same $100 at the movies that we could have put toward our own energy healing and like bettering our health. Not just physical health, like emotional health, spiritual health. But we decided, to go see something that we might determine it wasn't even that good. That's what I mean when I see this card, or what I'm feeling when I look at this card this week. And it has to do with our foundations, with like setting a foundation for yourself, putting those stakes in the ground, preparing yourself, readying yourself. All of that has to do with you. You got to be well to do all that. And now thinking again that this devil is here on the feminine side, I've had a couple of my clients that did approach me for, and these are repeat clients too, did approach me for more healing that said like, well, should I do me or should I do my divine masculine? And we decided together that they should do themselves. And now I'm seeing here that may be, this may be reflective of the fact that was correct. And it is mostly with the feminine, right, or on the feminine, that a lot of us are going to have to work where the most restrictive energy is being felt, and where we're being like held back and limited in our movements. That doesn't mean that, to not heal yourself if you're a divine masculine, or if you're divine feminine wanting to help your divine masculine. That doesn't mean to not do that. But I am feeling more of it here. And as well as seeing it here with the devil. Anyway, crowning the wheel. It is the Queen of Air, who is independent, experienced, realistic, and witty. Objective decision-making, clearing away all that no longer serves you, and seeing the humor in a situation. So again, you're going to take a step back with that energy of the hermit Use that opportunity, that air of suspension, to change your perspective and cut away things that are blocking you from your progress, masculine. Cut away things. So this is where your energy healing comes in. Cut away things that are preventing you from achieving or from realizing this sudden positive change in your life. Something is blocking this. Cut it out of your life with the energy of the Queen of Air. That's what she does. Boom. Yeah, that's exactly what it's about. Here's the devil for you. It's another major arcana card, ego, or the devil. A false sense of entrapment, being overly focused on material things, negative or fear-based thoughts. And this is why you have to go within. Why you have to go within in order to figure out what or whom do I need to get out of my life so that I can realize my dreams and what the universe wants to give to me based on my karma, my good faith efforts, my hard works that I've put out into the universe, my positive energy that I've put out. I'm due some justice. I'm due to be paid back for it. But something is stopping me. What is that thing, or who is that person, so that I can cut them out? This is also very much representative for me of one of the other things I mentioned earlier in the reading, or before I started the reading in my rant. Set, the quote-unquote devil, and the sun, Horus, opposite one another, or going up against one another. Who will be the victor? Atop the Prince of Spring is the Four of Fire, a happy home life and the successful completion of a project. Well, some fire sign energy, some Knight of Wands, who is like the prince that saves the day, right? Prince Charming comes to your rescue, and the result is peace and harmony for you. This, again, can be a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. All of those that mentioned very, very strong this week. Okay, we mentioned the true node, so Leo. We mentioned Mars and Mercury, both in Aries, so that sign. And I talked about Sagittarius, again, in connection with the sun, and being Venus's SON a minute ago. So all the fire signs, very active in our lives this week. And this can also be a Scorpio as well. Of course, ruled by Mars, which is in Capricorn. This could be Ra, speaking of Leo, helping Horus ultimately to defeat Set. This could be Ra healing Horus's eye to defeat Set. And I posted a picture of myself this week, actually, on Facebook, and my left eye was really doing a number. And I tagged it, I tagged it, yeah, hashtag Eye of Horus. That may be connected. I have to figure out how. That same Knight of Fire, that Prince Charming, he's mirroring himself here. Okay, he crowns the feminine. He's at the root of the masculine, so he's mirroring himself. There's one here, there's one here. But he is similar to being who, in effect, is going to bring the masculine his justice and his abundance. He's who helps the feminine as well. And again, this is also reflective of Venus in Aries. Atop the Queen of Spring, it's the Lovers. Maybe it's more Venus as the ruler of Gemini, the esoteric ruler of Gemini, in Aries. Intimate relationships. Carefully weigh your decisions. Good health. So this is about love coming the way of the feminine as well. We got this, a 6 mirrors a 6 here with the feminine opposite the masculine, with the masculine being surrounded by the energy of ego or the devil, major arcana card 15, opposite the feminine's Lovers, major arcana card 6, both equal 6. So both can equal love if approached in the right way, if looked at from the right vantage point. At the root, atop this devil, is the Ace of Air, guiding you to go ahead and cut this out. And this can also be representative of just that Mercury or Venus energy cutting whatever this is out, away from you, whatever's restricting you, whatever's holding you back. Brilliant new ideas and inspirations. Seeing the truth of a situation in a challenging beginning. It always talks about a challenging beginning. For me, it's a beginning nonetheless, so that's all I need. But what it means in the tarot is that it was like difficult getting here. It's been a struggle getting here, but we're here. Like started from the bottom, but now we're here. It's that sort of thing. So I'd rather focus on the fact that we're here rather than the fact that we started from the bottom. Not that we should forget that. Crowning. Atop the 9 of spring, which is about persistence and the need to keep going. Even if you feel tired, you're weary, you've had enough of this, you don't feel like you can take anymore. Here comes healing energy from the universe in the form of balance or temperance, which again represents the sign of Sagittarius. The need for balance and moderation, cooperation and compromise. Wait for perfect timing. So if you're feeling down and out, you need this healing from the universe. It is sending it to you to support you. Perhaps in the form of a fire sign person, maybe specifically a Sagittarius. At the root, unity, another 5. Crowned by a 5, the union is, and rooted in a 5. We're making strides, we're making movement maybe in the area of with whom we surround ourselves. Maybe we're cutting some people out, cutting out the devil with the Ace of Air's sword. Unity, or the high priest, or the Hierophant, is here crossing the Hermit, which I said was the other variation of the sun. For me, the Hierophant, the high priest, is also a Virgo, but in the tarot, it's a Taurus, but he's the sun as well to me. Traditional viewpoints or methods, spiritual organizations, seek out mentors and like-minded friends. Again, the Unity card, or High Priest, or Hierophant, represents the sign of Taurus in the tarot. And it sits here atop the Chariot, which is about movement or moving or modes of transportation or travel. Travel, which, by the way, may be affected by Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde, impactful upon basically everything we use or do every single day. Travel, modes of transportation, electronics, communication, all of these affected by Mercury. But here, the Hierophant also guides us to not only to move forward in terms of higher institutions, so like commitments, marriage, going to college or some other school, vocation, but also very important, especially crossing the Hermit, I think, which is about enlightenment and helping to enlighten others or being enlightened by others as well as going within. The Unity card, or Hierophant, is about with whom we surround ourselves and making sure that those people are beings who are of our vibration or higher, from whom we can learn something, and to stop wasting time with people who bring us down with low vibe energies, to cut ourselves away from the devil. The heart of the matter. Boom! What I say about the sun? The S-U-N and the S-O-N. Happy outcome. Brilliant new ideas that lead to success if we have confidence in ourselves. This is another 5, by the way, at least together. We have 5, 5, 5 equals 6 equals love. But this is about the sun becoming the leader and taking like his rightful place and being victorious over these darker energies that would hold him back. All resulting in peace, joy, contentment, and 11. Looks like this week is about war, or the war, the spiritual war, for me, for the most part, from a general perspective. But it's also very much about love and relationships of all kinds. Relationships we have with ourselves, the relationship we have with the people that are surrounding us, and are they appropriate for us and we for them, and the romantic relationships that we share as well. I'm going to further clarify these. I was wanting to, and then I started not to. I said this is going to be long enough, but you know what? I'm going to. These are my surrender cards, and I'm beginning with surrender unhealthy relationships. So I think that's one of the things that's pushing me to go ahead and do it, because we got the Hermit and the Hierophant here, which are about the same thing. We got the Queen of Swords here, who was about the same thing, cutting away unhealthy relationships. And we ended on this note. This was the masculine's advice in the reading the week before. Let go of relationships that don't serve you, including unavailable or toxic people. You deserve to be treasured by others and to be surrounded by positive people. And opening to surrender to what is. Flow with what is instead of fighting it. When you can't change the situation, compassionately accepting it exactly as it is will bring you peace. And I spoke to somebody, a couple of the Divine Feminine, about this too, where they were being approached by karmics. And I said, some of this stuff is things we have to work through. So whatever you do, go with the flow. If you feel you're to take this man up on his lunch date that he's offered you, take him up on his lunch date. That may be something that you have to get out of the way for the purposes of karma. But if you feel not to, then don't. Certainly don't do it to be vindictive against the masculine, or tit for tat. I can do it too. You had a party of 3, I can have one also. Certainly don't do that. Just go with the flow and do what feels organic and natural, whatever that means. So it's surrendering to what is. Surrender unhealthy relationships, and surrender denial. Accept people and situations exactly as they are without denying the difficulties. Then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. Surrender unhealthy relationships. I'll go one more. It is surrender frustration. Frustration doesn't open any doors. The key to resolving a dilemma or dissolving a block is to take a breath, center yourself, and regroup so that you may approach the situation more calmly. Surrender frustration. I'm going to cut. And I'm actually thinking that some of these may really further clarify these, like truly connect to them, as it relates to each individual situation we have here, what needs to be surrendered or let go of. Coming to surrender to your soul's path. Your life's journey has been perfectly designed for your soul's growth. Embrace every lesson and moment. Surrender to setting limits is the overall energy. It is healthy to set boundaries in relationships. Practice expressing your needs. And remember that no is a complete sentence. I got 2 here, so I'm going to go with it. I'm going to surrender to what is. It's 2. That's what it is. All right, so here atop the Queen of Air and the Wheel, surrender the drama. So it is what I was talking about as it relates to the masculine, and letting go of whatever is blocking him from his abundance. No matter how emotionally charged the situation, remain calm and don't contribute to the drama. Staying centered will help you to resolve the issue more quickly and to cut off who you need to cut off, if that's the case, using that sword of the Queen. Atop the Hermit. What did I say? Boom, 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 boom. Surrender unhealthy relationships again for you this week, masculine, but it's here with this devil. This thing that you feel tied to. You've got to go within and accept who does not enlighten you and who you failed to enlighten. Like, you don't vibe. You're not on the same page. You're not going to be. They are a block. They are holding you back. And some people may, again, maliciously be imposing blocks upon you. Surrender the unhealthy relationships. Let go of relationships that don't serve you, including unavailable or toxic people. You deserve to be treasured, right? And you deserve this treasure that awaits you also, that's in the form of the wheel. You deserve to be treasured by positive people and to be surrounded by them as well. This unfortunately includes friends, like close friends and family members as well, sometimes have to be cut off. At the root, for the masculine, atop the Four of Fire and the Prince of Spring, surrender negative thinking. Well, it is here in this subconscious area. So rather than thinking that you can't, have these things, we're going to think positively. But it's understandable at the same time because you have these negative energies up here. You have control over your thoughts, though. When negative thoughts surface, say thank you for sharing and quickly refocus on the positive affirmations. Here's your positive affirmations: the Four of Fire and the Prince of Spring. Atop the Prince of Spring, essentially, again, the Knight of Fire, and Justice for the feminine is surrender frustration. So frustration maybe that we've had that things weren't going our way. We haven't been getting our just desserts, as they say. Let go of that and we'll finally get them. Frustration doesn't open any doors. The key to resolving a dilemma or dissolving a block is to take a breath, center yourself, and regroup so that you may approach the situation more calmly. Atop the Lovers and the Queen of Spring, surrender your ego, which sits right here. So this is plain talk, straight to the divine feminine, as it relates to relationships, perhaps intimate relationships. Let go of your pride and other negative emotions. Cultivate gratitude, be of service to others, and come from your heart. A big ego can work against you, but humility will further your goals. So again, some of us need to cut that stuff out. Cut out the devil. Some of us need to seek professional help to aid us in cutting out the devil. The Ace of Swords and the Ego card or Devil card is topped by surrender to effortlessness. Stop pushing you so hard. The art of living means going with the flow instead of trying to force the river. And trying to force something would also be our ego, which is here and here in the cards, reflected by the cards. Atop Temperance and the Nine of Spring is surrender your intuition. Tune in to your inner voice and be aware of any gut feelings, flashes, knowings, or aha moments that come through to guide you. Where again, we are supposed to get from a fire energy, perhaps a Sagittarius, some sort of sudden news or something that does help us to get an aha moment. And all of a sudden that moves on to positive change for us. Maybe the aha moment again is about somebody that's surrounding us that is toxic for us. And we finally realize it and how we can get away from them. And we cut them away with the sword, for example. Or for the feminine, we finally realize that we've been fighting ourselves and blocking ourselves with our frustration. And we decide instead to think more positively and to allow for this flow, to allow for justice to come our way. We could have an actual legal situation, some of us, that with which we're dealing. And, we're due some sort of payout or settlement or something. And it's becoming frustrating that it hasn't happened yet. And we're having to go back and forth to court, over and over and over again. It might have to do with a relationship, so maybe a divorce or some sort of family court situation, maybe involving our children, with all the cups cards that showed up. But again, the frustration is a block to you, so release that. At the root, atop the Hierophant and the Chariot is, again, I pulled two cards. Surrender the idea that you can fix someone. It's time for a relationship to shift. It doesn't work to try to fix someone. Each person must be accountable for his or her own healing. And this is so true. So as far as this ego and trying to force situations, we can't force people to be as we want them to be, whether that is somebody with whom we're breaking up, maybe divorcing, or our child to the parent, and we can't make them act how we want them to act. this other parent. We can't make them do what we want them to do. We can't do that with our divine masculine. He's not acting right. He's not leaving his karmic or whatever the situation is. We can't force him. And on the side of the divine masculine, you can't force the karmic to, you know, be a good woman or man to you and to, you know, treat you as the divine feminine would. You can't. It's not going to work. You can't make your, you know, mother or father or whomever finally start to parent you if they didn't and you're a grown man or woman now. It's not going to happen. You can start a new relationship, but you can't force them to like make up the time and that they lost and change who they are or were. It doesn't work. What you can do again is perhaps repair some of these relationships and start anew from where you are, or let them go. Surrender the unhealthy relationship completely. And as well as the idea that you can fix somebody. The other card is perfect. They go hand in hand together. Surrender your desire to control people. Again, we can't force anyone to do anything they don't want to do. Being overly controlling can sabotage relationships. To more effectively achieve your goals, back off, regroup, and give the situation some breathing room. This also has to do with chasing, right? One another. We can the energy of the chase, which tends to be mostly on the side of the feminine, so it makes perfect sense that we have this surrender your ego as well as this ego card sitting right underneath it. We try to force these things a lot of the time. You're supposed to be with me. Like, I've seen all this stuff and I know all this stuff. You know, my awakening happened before yours and it's more advanced than yours. And that is some major ego trying to dictate the universe's timing, right? And as to when you guys get together and how you guys get together, like you're supposed to be with me now, because I'm your divine feminine. And this is for male and female divine feminine. I'm not putting this just on women. It's not gender specific. It's not sexuality specific. This is all of us trying to do this forcing. Like, when are we going to get together? My clock is ticking. You know, again, whether that's a male or a female, I don't mean necessarily even the internal clock, but just like, I want to be with somebody, I want a relationship, and I want to do this and I want to do that, thinking in a 3D, not thinking, hey, I didn't gift myself this sacred union. This is of the universe. I'm being blessed with this. I'm lucky to be on the ride, to have been chosen, as bumpy as it can get sometimes. So who the fuck do I think I am to be trying to decide when it happens, how it happens? Maybe it's not meant to happen for years. Maybe, have you ever seen these stories? These stories of serendipitous relationships. They meet as children, they part, each have their own relationships. They come back together in the end and they get married, you know, when they're in their 40s, if they're lucky. I've seen it later. I read about a couple recently that they were 80 years old. 80 years old. By the time they finally got together, they each had married like 2 other people. And I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen here. I'm just saying that not everything is today and in this time. Remember, time is like irrelevant as it relates to the universe. Time is, it's an illusion. It's not even real. It's something, I mean, like on earth here, we need all these things. We need everything to have a name, you know, including God, right? Everything has to have a name. We name these beings that we don't understand. We call them angels. We give them names like people have. All this stuff is human stuff. So it's all our ego. Now, that's not to just beat up on the divine feminine, because the divine masculine got some shit with him too. I mean, he does this thing with trying to force the karmic to be the divine feminine. I don't feel strong enough to go over there and deal with that. So I'm going to try to make this thing that. I want that kind of love, but I don't want everything I have to change about myself, or I don't want to face the things I don't like about myself, the things that make me feel insecure or less than or unworthy and whatever. I don't want to face that stuff. I just rather pretend that didn't happen. You know, that's not a thing. And so I'm going to try to force this other person to be in a relationship. Or I just really want, even though I, you know, am grown and I've put myself through school and I've raised my own kids, all this kind of stuff, I really want for a change my mother to treat me like a baby. And so I'm going to continue to try to force this healthy mother-daughter, mother-son relationship if it kills me. Even if this person is completely toxic, they don't want anything to do with you, or at least their actions don't illustrate that they do. And we just keep trying to hold on. Or I'm going to be, you know, a 30, 40-year-old man allowing my mother to pull me around by her purse strings. Or I'm going to be, and this is not to be judgmental, let's just put shit on the table, you know, as to some of the stuff I've witnessed. This is the kind of thing that we allow ourselves to say we're stuck. Remember, the masculine has this devil card over here too. He has an ego card of his own. And we allow ourselves to say, I'm stuck, I can't move, I have to let my baby mama treat me like shit, because I just can't do any better. I just can't do any better. I gotta allow myself to get sick, maybe end up in the hospital, stressed out, heart attack, worrying about how I'm going to live this life with somebody that literally makes me feel sick inside because I'm stuck. So these are the things we have to face. All of that stuff is ego. Heart of the matter. I think I got pulled in that direction before I do heart of the matter because of this repeated surrender of unhealthy relationships message that goes to the masculine week after week after week after week. And just so many of them, they seem to have difficulty doing that. They really do feel stuck. And I've had some of the masculine, and I guess men on this journey in general, you know, tell me like, I can't face this. This makes me feel vulnerable. Don't talk to me about that. That makes me feel vulnerable. Well, you know, that's part of your ego. If you're unwilling to allow yourself to feel vulnerable so that you can get to the root of some of the things that have been, you know, holding you back and look at them from a different perspective as the way the hangman would guide you to do, that's your ego. That's your pride. All right, so heart of the matter. Here atop the sun and the emperor is surrender to wonder and awe, open to the magic of every moment, and sense that awe and wonder in all of life. This attitude will help you to keep you connected to the ecstasy of flow. And why wouldn't we, or shouldn't we, be in awe of the universe and beings and bodies like the sun and the planet Mars that drives us and gives us the drive, the aggression, the desire to like strive for things and to push for them and to achieve them, but also that, masculine love that we all so desire as well. Further advice to the masculine from the Surrender Oracle. Surrender your need to always be right. Give others the gift of letting them be right. Be yielding, not rigid. This will help to resolve conflicts and to improve your relationships. Feminine. Surrender your attachment to results. This is what I was just talking about. This, he's supposed to be with me. It has to go this way. We're supposed to be joined, as of last year. All that kind of ridiculousness, No, just let it happen. The formula for success is to do all that you can to make things happen and then to let go of the results. Holding on too tightly. Where's that overall energy of ours today? Holding on too tightly to a desired outcome can sabotage it. And you don't want to self-sabotage. From the Animal Tarot, the King of Spring, who's inspiring, dramatic, ambitious, and wise. This is basically the same as the Emperor. And again, this is you, masculine. This is your energy. This is the divine masculine energy. And very specifically, the energy of Aries, Scorpio, Leo, and Sagittarius. Now's your moment to step up to a leadership role. Don't back away from the spotlight, as your plans will be successful. Happy outcome, right? The sun represents the sign of Sagittarius as well. It sits here under Temperance, which represents the sign of Sagittarius. A big week for that Cupid-like energy if you ask me. So don't back away from the spotlight. Your plans will be successful as long as you stay focused and upon the big picture. Feminine. This is the divine masculine in one, if I ever saw it. With this you have that Scorpio aspect of Mars coming together, converging upon each other. You have Jupiter also, again, ruler of Sagittarius in Scorpio. We're looking at these two. The king of summer is warm-hearted, devoted, loving, and faithful. A trustworthy person or a relationship enters your life. You may receive wise and compassionate advice from someone who speaks directly from the heart. If you get some sort of advice like that, again, it's genuine, is what they're saying here. And from the Animal Tarot, masculine, some of you are going to need to end up single and going, spending some time alone. If you're not single, you need to, if you're not breaking away from a party of three, even aside from that, if you've already done that and you're already single, or even if you're in a relationship that is, more so a healthy one, a party of two at this point, there's still a need, very clear and apparent need, for the masculine to do some 9 of earthing, which means spending some time with himself, getting to know himself, getting to like himself, getting to love himself, enjoying being with him. Breaking away from anyone and anything that would get in the way of that. That's the devil. And feminine for us, the Empress, it's more Venus. The Empress represents the planet and goddess Venus for me, ruler of Taurus with all this earth here. Libra, fair, just. And Gemini. Lavish abundance, give birth to your dreams. Nurture yourself. Talked about the feminine, taking care of herself, working on her energy, working on cutting her cords to negative emotions and negative attachments. Nurture yourself and others, not just the others. Again, some of you also may be pregnant, or if you've been wanting to get pregnant, this is a good time. You've been pregnant with ideas, this is a good time to begin to plan how to implement them upon the end of the Mercury retrograde. I hope that you guys enjoyed this reading. I'll be back with some others. This reading, as well as all that I do, is sponsored by Mary Anderson. Namaste, angels.